Hi angels and welcome. I'm your host Lisa Everding, founder of Earthy Angels, and I'm on a mission to empower women to live authentically and to take exquisite care of themselves. You can find us on earthyangels.com or head over to our show notes to follow us on socials. Hi angels. In today's episode, I will take you through a journey from the old me of 7 years ago to the me that sits before you here, and how I've shifted my confidence over the last 7 years and how it's evolved into a number of different things in my business, for me personally, for me spiritually. But it all comes back to the inner work, to making a decision to work on myself and to want to improve and grow. So I will take you through some of the steps, some of the insights, some of the perspectives, some tips on how you too can raise your confidence and step into that higher self version of you that is dying to come out, angels. Good morning, my friends. Happy Sunday. Well, it's Sunday anyway at the time of my recording, and it's morning, and predominantly it will always be morning when I record because that is when I have my most downloads. I have my creative ideas, my inspiration, and I've learned that you just have to capture them when they come through. Otherwise you forget. You get distracted, you get busy, and you tend to forget. And this morning when I was out on my walk, I was thinking about the episode that I recorded yesterday. So yesterday I recorded an episode about how it's Mercury retrograde at the moment. We've got a solar eclipse Monday, tomorrow night. And yesterday I was speaking about how with Mercury retrograde, I had to take a little bit of a look back into the past. And it just dawned on me about the woman that I was 7 years ago and how I used to feel, how I had my dominant beliefs, I guess you would say, and how I feel on this threshold of I'm about to embark on stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit more and evolve in my business and in myself as a human being, as a soul. And as I was walking this morning, it dawned on me that people might be thinking, well, how did you become more confident? How did you change? Like, what did you do to change? I touched on a little bit of it yesterday, but I thought I might dedicate this episode to just really sharing the things that I have done over the last 7 years, which I will continue to do always, that have helped me build more confidence and more worth in myself. And it's funny, I was out walking this morning and we have had so much rain here. We have actually had a lot of rain all summer, to be honest. And I had a break in the weather. I thought, okay, Kira, let's go out on this walk. And I was 5 minutes into my walk and it poured. And I thought, nope, I'm going to continue. I love walking in the rain. And it got to that point where it was so heavy, I was like a drowned rat. But I didn't care. I thought, I'm going to keep walking. And Kira was having the best time and wagging her tail. And as I was walking, there was no one else out. Like, I was the only silly one out on my walk. And I thought to myself, I just had this urge to take my shoes off. I'm like, they're saturated anyway, who cares? And I'm just going to take my shoes off because I just felt the need to get my feet in the ground. I felt a need to just walk in the puddles and not care what anyone thought. People would be driving past thinking, look at that crazy woman, or look at that stupid woman out in the rain. Or so who cares? Some of them might have been thinking, wow, she's having a great time. But I just took my shoes off and was walking in the puddles, and it felt so good. It kind of embodied that childlike behavior and it actually was funny. One of a man rode past. I think I recognized the little kid. I think it was one of my clients little boys, and he was out with his granddad and they were riding their bikes, and he wanted to get to like the river. Like there's this little stream. I heard him talking about going and checking out the stream because when it rains it flows really nicely. And I thought, oh, actually I'm on my way there too. I want to go and check it out. And they were both saturated. We were the only ones out. And it just made me really think of that childlike innocence where you just don't care when you're out in the rain and you're just having a good time and you're splashing in the puddles. And I come back home and I pulled a couple of cards this morning, and it's funny, I don't pull cards every single morning. It might sound like I do, but obviously I'm not recording every single day and I'm not pulling cards every day, but I often do when I feel an urge to do a podcast. And I pulled this card this morning, landing, and it said, it is if you've been flying, now is the time to come back down to earth. Maybe you've been swept up in a whirlwind or hurtling through a time of overwhelming and busyness or immense change, that it's time to come back down to earth. And I had a need to get grounded this morning. It was just what I was feeling called to do. Can't explain it. It's just what I felt called to do. So I did it. And then another card I pulled actually in my Divine Feminine Oracle guidebook was Lolita, the red goddess. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. And she represents the spontaneity that graces a heavy moment and reminds us that joy is a powerful spiritual practice. And she also actually talks about her being depicted with a golden arrow and a golden bow that represents the mind and 5 golden arrows that represent the 5 senses. So a reminder to play and embody your senses. And I thought that's funny. That's really fitting. It must have been another sign of what I needed to do today, and my soul guided me to do that anyway. And then I get a little video sent through we got a family group chat, and I got a video sent through from my sister of her 2 beautiful little angels out in the rain playing on their new trampoline. And it just, all of it this morning was very symbolic of that childlike energy of just getting out in nature, of just having fun in the rain, of just letting go of what people think and just embodying the moment. And this morning I wanted to talk to you about developing confidence. And it wasn't until I read those cards and I got that message from my sister and I felt that urge to kind of get out and ground a little bit this morning that I thought, wow, that is actually one point that I didn't think of when I was thinking about this episode that is really fitting. Like, one thing that really helps you develop more confidence in yourself is just embodying that childlike innocence and that childlike nature of getting back to curiosity, getting back to exploring, getting back to having fun, because we become so, I guess, look, there's so many different words I could use to describe it. We become so confined. We become so restrained. We become so restricted as an adult with all of these beliefs that I have to be grown up now, or I have to put on this mask of having everything right all the time, having everything together all the time, having, taking life so seriously, and just putting on this mask of responsibility, and it can be overwhelming, and we can carry so much pressure that sometimes we just need to just let it all go and have fun, because confidence comes from doing what you love, from listening to your heart and soul, and from doing what lights you up, and having that spontaneity, that playfulness, that joy, that all of that joy that we embody, and that fun sparks creativity, and it helps us to discover who we are and what we want to do, and what makes us happy and what fulfills us. And when you're living in that aligned place of listening to your heart, you become more confident because you're just doing what's easy for you and what's effortless for you and what is like your second nature and what you love to do. And when you get back to that childlike innocence and childlike fun and curiosity, it opens up a whole portal to allow more of that creativity and that inspiration and your needs and your desires to flow through you. So anyway, that was not on my list, but it was just so, and who cares? Like, it doesn't matter what's on my list. I just speak from the heart, and that was something that reminded me this morning of that's what I really need. And sometimes that can be what you really need as well, for you to step into your power and for you to gain more confidence. And when I thought about, okay, what happened along the way of the last 7 years for me to up level, for me to shift, for me to gain more self-worth, more confidence in myself, I look back and I had a lot of limiting beliefs. And look, we're always going to have limiting beliefs. They're always going to show up. I have another layer of them now that I've had to work through. But the key is working through them, right? And I can do a whole episode on shifting limiting beliefs. So I'm not going to dive into all of that now. I'm just going to touch on it. But you have to ask yourself, when a belief comes up, and a belief is just a thought that you continue to think over and over again. It could be your thought. It could be a thought or a belief that you've taken on through your family or through people around you, or through the thoughts of people that you work with, or what happened to you as a child or a teenager, or all of these things. And you hold on to those beliefs, and you have to ask yourself at some point, are they really true? And that's what I had to ask myself, like these fears or these doubts that I used to embody about not being good enough, or I'm not as good as that person, or as good as other people, or I don't have the confidence in myself to do that. I had to stop and ask myself and go, is that belief really true? And often it's not. It's just this, it's almost like these shackles or these chains that kind of keep you stuck, because you keep thinking this thought over and over again. So you have to work at deconditioning or unprogramming those limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck. So sometimes doing an exercise as simple as writing down these limiting beliefs, just getting them out on paper, and then going, I am done. I am not believing that anymore. Journal it out, burn it, sage it away, rip it up, have a good heart talk to yourself and go, no, that is not me. I'm not believing that anymore, because that is not the essence of who I am. And if I continue to believe that, it's going to keep me stuck. So there's a lot of different ways that you can replace those limiting beliefs. You can replace them with affirmations. I made a decision that I'm going to change my self-talk. I made a decision that I'm not going to think that way anymore. And it's not as easy as just going, I'm just going to let go of that thought. It's going to come up over and over again. And what can you replace that thought with? And so I would start writing down affirmations. And your affirmation is basically the opposite of what you don't want to believe anymore. Or an affirmation could be of what you want to believe and what you want to see show up in your life. And so I would write down these affirmations of, and before I continue with that, there's two things. You can actually write them down, or you can just repeat them with your self-talk in your mind's eye. It's up to you as to what you feel comfortable with and what you're actually going to do, right? So I would do a combination of both, but I enjoy writing things down. And I would also say them in my mind's eye whenever a limiting belief would come up. I would go, nope, that's not true. I'm going to shift it. And what do I want to believe? So I would write down affirmations, things like, I am worthy, life flows easily and effortlessly for me, I am strong and confident, I am capable and powerful, I am a successful businesswoman, I am a woman who radiates confidence, I am beautiful, I am sexy, I am fun, I light up the world, confidence flows through me, I radiate this amazing energy that I give to people. I could just rattle off a million things. I'm not reading this. This is just what's coming through to my mind. And I would just write whatever come up for me in the day, or whatever I needed to say in the day. And that really helped me to start to decondition or unprogram those limiting beliefs by just playing out or believing what I wanted to believe. And if you say it enough, you start to believe it. It's like a negative thought is something you continue to think over and over again, but we have to work hard at putting the positive thoughts in, and we have to make a conscious effort to continue to say them and believe them over and over again until it's the power of repetition, right? Power of repetition. And then they start to become ingrained in your subconscious belief. So it's like a computer, like you're putting in this new software, you're putting in this new programming. And that is one thing that I always say one thing. There's not one thing. There's heaps of different things. But that is something that I continue to do over and over again in an area of my life that I wanted to up level in. And it's something that I guess it's not, it doesn't just happen automatically, because one of my good friends is a psychologist and he said the brain is hardwired for negative. You have to work hard at putting the good stuff in. So you might need to put post-it notes around, you might need to put little reminders for you, but it's catching yourself in the moment when you have a limiting belief showing up and pivoting, switching it and changing it to what you want to believe. And I started to think about the fears that I was having. I would think about it and go, okay, I can work through these fears. So these could be little fears, it could be big fears. It could be little fears as simple as putting myself up on social media doing a story. I was petrified of putting myself up on social media and speaking publicly, or putting myself on video. All these limiting beliefs would come up, like, oh, I don't look that great today, or my voice sounds terrible, or what if I say the wrong thing? What if I stumble? So I would make myself do Facebook Lives, because if I was just recording, I would record and then I would go, nope, that's not good enough, or I didn't say the right thing, and I'd stop, delete, and do it over and over again until I got it perfect. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just annoying. This is just so debilitating that I started to go, stuff it. I'm just going to jump on live, and whatever comes out, comes out. And that was something that really helped me. I had to face the fear, feel the fear, and do it anyway. You can't just let go of fear. You can't just go, oh, I'm just not going to feel that fear anymore. You can't help how you feel, right? But I thought to myself, if I work through it often enough, if I do it, it will start to become easy. So I made it a habit of getting out of my comfort zone in many ways. Little things and big things, I would get out of my comfort zone. And the more I got out of my comfort zone and started to do the thing, like for instance, Facebook Lives, the more I would go, actually, it's not hard anymore. It becomes second nature, because once you do it over and over, it starts to become effortless. So I would put myself out of my comfort zone by courses that I've had to do that were out of my comfort zone, by showing up publicly, by speaking publicly. It was really hard for me. I was comfortable in my little personal training business working one-on-one with people, but having to get up and teach in front of people was like absolutely terrifying for me. And I remember going into all the different teacher trainings that I did. My very first one, yoga teacher training, we had to get up and do things standing on a chair in front of the room of people, and I was shitting my pants. And I was thinking, oh my God, I can't do this. But I had no choice, right? I enrolled in this course and I had to do it. So the little things that we would do started to get us out of our comfort zone. Teaching in front of people was terrifying at first, and it was still hard over and over again. But then it started to become easy, and it started to become comfortable for me, that it's just second nature. So once you make it a habit to get out of your comfort zone, things start to become so much easier that you go, I don't even remember the time it was uncomfortable. And I've challenged myself to do some hard things. I remember we went to Dubai and we were going on this trip it was an aircon trip. We were going with a group of people, and I was looking at things to do because they have everything organized. And then I found on Google this zip line off a tall building in Dubai. It was like, I can't remember how many, 170 meters tall, a biggest zip line, longest zip line, highest zip line in the world. And I saw this and went, oh my God, that would be amazing. I should show that to Tom. And then I went, no, he might actually make me do it. So I'm not going to. So I kind of had this, I ended up showing him. And then we're at the airport. Everyone's we were with a group of these friends that we'd met on these trips in the bar, ready to go. And I showed them this zip line because I thought, okay, a couple of people are going to do this with me. And if I get a group of people together, I'm not going to back out. And a few of these people were like, yep, that sounds amazing. So we did. We went up and I was petrified. Like, I am seriously scared of heights and scared of that free fall feeling. And I have skydived, and that was something I did out of my comfort zone as well. When Riley was 1, I left her on the ground with some family members, and the whole family was going skydiving for someone's birthday. I think it was Tom's uncle's birthday, and a whole group of them were going. And last minute I had FOMO and went, bugger it, I'm going. I just quickly paid and went and jumped in the plane and went up with them and jumped. And it was absolutely terrifying, but one of the most amazing experiences of my life. So when I'm in this zip line, about to go on this zip line in Dubai, I thought the same thing. I thought, Two things. When I skydived, I was terrified, but after I got over that initial free fall feeling, I loved it. And secondly, I was coming through this phase when I was about to embark on a different journey with my business. It was just before I opened the studio, and I thought to myself, I need to get out of my comfort zone. If I'm going to teach people, if I'm going to teach my kids how to get out of their comfort zone, I need to do it myself. So that was the big driver for me to do this zip line. And I remember looking over the edge of the building. I was shaking, absolutely shaking, looking over the edge of the building going, why the hell am I doing this? But I knew once I got over those initial few seconds, I knew it was just going to be, honestly, a few seconds of free fall. Then I was just going to open my arms up and enjoy it. And I did. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, but I did it with the pure intention to level up and to gain more confidence. And we've done many adventures over the years, and I have made it a point of doing some things to get out of my comfort zone. I remember, look, we've done a couple of trips with the kids. We took the kids to South Africa when they were younger. I can't remember how old they were, about maybe 11 and 9 and 11. We took them on safari, and we also took them we went to Mexico, and Tom and I had been to Mexico before, and we wanted to take the kids back because we thought they were getting a little bit older. There's some really cool stuff that we wanted to do with them. And I remember people saying to us, I can't believe you're taking your kids to South Africa. I can't believe you're taking your kids to Mexico. And I just had this knowing that I was going to be safe, that everything was going to be okay. And look, we didn't go to any dodgy areas. Like we weren't hanging out in Mexico City. We went to Cabo, and same within South Africa. We went to a beautiful game lodge and Sun City and a few really amazing places that I felt were a lot safer for the kids. And we had the most incredible experiences of our life. When we were in Mexico, we went over to La Paz and we took the kids swimming with whale sharks. We didn't force them. we asked them, and they were happy to give it a go. And again, I was terrified. You know, all these things go through my head, like, what if they eat the kids? And I did all this research, and I was looking it up, that they actually have, even though they have big mouths, they have throats the size of a tennis ball. So they can't swallow my kids. So that's going to be fine. And again, was so scared, but they turned out to be the most incredible experiences of my life. So I've made it a habit over the years to get out of my comfort zone and just teach the kids that this is how we grow. And I can't teach that to my community. I can't teach that to my kids. And I can't level up in myself unless I get out of my comfort zone. I can only teach and share from experience. So I'm not telling you need to go and zip line off a building or you need to throw yourself in with whale sharks. These are just experiences that I chose to do because I love experience, I love adventure, and I find growth in getting out of my comfort zone. And I would always ask myself the question, like, if I do this thing, am I going to, what's the worst thing that can happen? Am I going to die? If I get on social media and I stuff it up, who cares? Am I going to die? What's the worst thing that can happen? It's not going to be that bad. And it did cross my mind zip lining, but I thought, look, I wouldn't zip line in Thailand, but I feel quite comfortable with the infrastructure of doing it in Dubai. So that's something that I really encourage you to do, is get out of your comfort zone as much as you can. And I have had women that have come to the studio and have said, I've been sitting in the car debilitated with anxiety and so scared to step into a class when I've never done Pilates or yoga before. I don't know anybody. And I actually made myself do it. And I look back and I go, why was I so worried? All the things I was worried about didn't happen. And that's often what you find, is the things that you're afraid of don't end up happening. They're just a story that you replay in your mind. They're a fear that you replay in your mind. So one thing I always repeat is, am I going to die? If I go through with the thing, am I going to die? And what's the worst thing that can happen? So just have a little think on that when you're thinking about something that you're afraid to do. What's the worst thing that can happen? And chances are you will find that thing will not happen. 9 times out of 10, that will not happen to you. And you'll look back and go, oh, it actually wasn't that bad. And surrounding yourself with good people, it helps so much. So over the years, I have found that I just become inspired by certain people, but whether it's people that I would listen to, people I would follow, people in my community, friends, mentors, energy healers, people I would surround myself with. I would make it a habit of surrounding myself with good people who would lift me up and make me feel that actually I can do the thing. We've got a couple of really close friends and we've encouraged each other, to start our own businesses, to just in the conversations that naturally come up, we just inspire one another. And over the years, I have just let people go that were not fulfilling or were not the right people that I needed to surround myself with. Sometimes you can have a fallout with people. Sometimes people just naturally drift away. You just stop spending as much time with people, and that's okay. So be mindful of who you're surrounding yourself with, and you be the person that lifts people up as well, and just make it a habit of, like even when you go to classes, people come into our community and they go, I feel so safe and comfortable in this community. I feel really supported. So where are you spending most of your time? Are you spending time with people that lift you up? Are your social media influencers people that are actually inspiring you, or are they wasting time and bringing you down? So have a little check-in with that. And if it doesn't align with you, just be mindful of that, and you'll find it will either you'll make a decision to let it go, or as you grow, these things will naturally drift away from your life anyway. So just being really mindful and protective of where you spend your time and where you invest your energy is something that really will help you in building your confidence and building your worth. Because if you've got people that constantly bring you down and make you feel not good enough, or criticize you, or you're comparing yourself to other people all the time, it's going to keep you stuck, and it's going to keep you in this limiting belief of, I'm not good enough compared to that person, or I'm not as good as my friends or my social environment. So hang around people that bring you up to their level and you bring them up, and you will find you will grow in the process. And I've also found that just have boundaries. Be really protective of your energy and where you are investing your energy. Constantly be a learner, being open to being a learner, whether that's things like books or podcasts. I've invested so much time, energy, and money into courses that will help build me. I've invested time and money and energy into spiritual and personal development, into reading. Be a reader. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm not going to lie, when you can become a reader, your whole life will change. And I'm not talking about novels, and why novels are great sometimes, like a movie. I'm talking about books on self-development, on personal development, on health, on fitness, on finance, whatever area in your life that you feel that you want to grow in. Pick up a book and become inspired, become wiser, and shift your perspective, because the amount of books that I've read, they just sink into my subconscious mind that I just start to believe that. I start to embody that. I notice the way I look at things change. One of the best books I've read is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he talks about, it's a 1937 classic, long before The Secret, long before all of the modern day books, and why they're great. I love the older wisdom, where it originates from. And he spoke about the power of your mind and the power of your thoughts. And from then I started to understand that I need to protect my mind. I need to protect my thoughts and what I allow to influence me. And it was a brilliant book. He's got another great book called Outwitting the Devil. I've read another book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I've read so many books, and I made it a habit to become a reader, that you naturally start to raise your vibration, you naturally start to raise and elevate your thinking by what you drip feed into your mind. At the same time, you can waste your mind on mindless shit that changes your programming of negativity. It brings you into a space of, like watching rubbish on TikTok, and while there can be some good things, ask yourself, do I allow myself to waste time on social media on things that aren't elevating my thinking and aren't bringing me up to a higher level, or giving me inspiration, giving me creative ideas, learning to connect with my soul, all of the things that I want to embody, ask yourself, what are you allowing to filter into your mind, and protect your mind, because it's like a garden. Whatever you plant in there is going to grow. So you can fill it with weeds, or you can fill it with seeds of abundance, and be very protective of what you allow in. And books and audios and courses are things that you can use to expand your level of thinking, expand your capacity, expand your personal and spiritual development. And they build you. They help you elevate your confidence and your self-belief and your worth in yourself. So be mindful of where you're spending your time and what you're allowing to filter into your subconscious mind. And give yourself time in solitude. When you have time by yourself, whether it's coming to a class or meditation, time out in nature, just time in mindfulness, when you have that little bit of time for yourself, it gives you an opportunity to reflect, and it gives you an opportunity to just kind of dive into what I actually want, what's right for me, and open yourself up to that spark of creativity, to that spark of what's coming through for me. Because if you're constantly busy, you're constantly listening to the radio, constantly watching TV, constantly on social media, constantly listening to people, constantly in noise, how can you listen to your heart and soul and what you need within yourself? So just blocking a few things out and coming into time of solitude and self-reflection gives you a little bit of time to reflect on what you need and what your heart is calling you to do, what you need in the moment. It gives you time to connect in and just ask yourself, what is right for me? It gives you time to really be just mindful and so in tune with yourself. And I used to be someone, I had to be around people all the time and couldn't go anywhere by myself. But I started to embody, you know what? I'm just going to go and have a breakfast by myself. I'm going to go for a beach walk, go to a cafe, take my book and have brekkie on myself. And the young me would have been mortified of the thought of doing that, because that's hard. What if I look like a loser? What if I look like a loner out by myself? Because I worried so much about what other people thought. When I let go of worry about what other people thought and what other people were doing, and started to value my time and my energy and what I needed, I started to shift in ways that you would not believe, and you will too. So take time in solitude and learn to be guided by your heart and soul, and learn to trust in yourself. And the more you have a little bit more trust in yourself, the more it's like a muscle. It becomes stronger, and you start to develop more trust in yourself. Doing things for self-care and showing yourself that you are worthy of taking time for yourself, that you are worthy of looking after yourself, for exercise, for nourishment, for self-care. When you give yourself time to do those things, you are basically sending a message to yourself that I am worthy of those things. And it develops more confidence, because you start to know what you like and what you want, that you let go of what everyone else is doing, and you start to ask yourself the question, what is right for me? What care do I need for me right now? And you're showing yourself this kindness, this compassion, this love, and this appreciation, that you start to develop more self-confidence in yourself. You can't just go, I'm just going to love on myself and that's it. It comes down to your actions and how you treat yourself and what you do for yourself. Get back to gratitude. When you start to write down things that you're grateful for, or repeat in your mind's eye things that you are grateful for, more gratitude, more things to be grateful. Let me rephrase that. More things flow into your life that you are grateful for. And you start to notice gratitude in the smaller things that have always been there, but you didn't notice it before. So maybe gratitude for yourself, gratitude for what your body does for you, gratitude for the beautiful woman that you are, gratitude for the skills and the gifts that you already have. And when you start to acknowledge and own your gifts and own what you have already achieved, own your accomplishments, and go, actually, look at me, I've done that. That is such a really cool thing. I'm so proud of myself for that. And acknowledging your wins and having gratitude and appreciation and just reflection on what you have done for yourself, you build up a little bit more worth and a little bit more confidence in yourself. And when you start to, one thing I really had to let go of is letting go of what people thought. I would worry so much about what people thought. what people thought about the way how my kids would behave in public. If they were doing something naughty, I'd be embarrassed. And I had to kind of let go of, it doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter what people think, what I look like, what I dress like. As long as I made a decision that as long as I like and accept myself, that's the most important thing. I don't need to be liked by everyone. I don't need to be accepted by everyone, but I need to like and accept myself. And when I started just being more authentic and just showing up and doing the things that I liked, not in a selfish way, but showing up in a way of this is me and I'm just going to present me to the world, I found more people liked me or more people related to me or more people connected with me because I connected and liked and related to myself. And that is really important for you at the level of your heart and soul to accept who you are and put yourself out there to the world, or even just your little inner world, or just acknowledge to yourself, I'm going to embrace myself, quirks and all, and this is who I am. I'm not going to be afraid to show it. And when I started to do that, the right people showed up in my life and the not right people fell away. So trust that you have so much to offer the world, that you have so much to give, and you are just amazing the way that you are. And then over time, I started to worry less and less what people thought and worried about what I thought. And I started to trust in spirit, in source. And this is not something I did 7 years ago, okay? This is something that has evolved and grown over the time. I started to discover the essence of who I am and my spirit and my soul. And I started to listen to that more than every other influence around me. The more I listened to myself and my spirit and my soul, the more guidance that I got, the more intuition would come through to me, the more creative ideas would come through to me, the more I let go of this barrier of worrying about, is it right? Is it perfect? What are other people going to think? I didn't care because I was doing what was right for my soul, and I started to own my gifts and what I was good at. And that can come from embracing hobbies, from embracing your passion, from doing things that light you up. The more you do that, the more you start to go, this is actually what feels good for me. And maybe I can turn this into a business. Maybe I can turn this into a creative idea. Maybe this is what I need to do for work. Maybe I need to shift my career, or your job might change. All of the things in other areas of your life are going to ripple out from the core of what does my soul guide me to do, and learning to listen to that. And that is something that over the years I started to learn to trust in more and more, that I'm guided by source, my higher self, whatever you want to call it. And I listened to that and made that my priority over anybody else's opinions or this fear of doing the wrong thing. So that is something that has come with time, and it has come with trust. And I have learned to, in my heart and soul, that I am divinely guided, I'm protected, and I'm safe, and I'm loved. And I repeat those mantras all the time when I'm about to do something scary and get out of my comfort zone. I just go, no, I'm divinely guided. This has come to me for a reason. I need to trust it. I am safe and I am loved. And it has strengthened my ability to trust in myself, which in turn has strengthened my confidence. So Mike, if I look back at the woman that I was 7 years ago, there's not one secret thing that did it for me. There's no one secret on anything, right? It's what works for you and what you're actually going to do. So I know I've gone through a whole heap of different things, and I know there is more that is going to come out in my podcast over time, and you're going to take out of it. It might be one thing that you take out of it that you needed to hear today. It might be a few things, a few little habits and shifts that you're going to change. You might be sitting there going, oh my God, I don't have time. People often say, I don't have time to do that. Now, I'm not telling you I did one of these single things every single day. You just take out of it what you can do. Take out of it what you like. But it's also what I've learned over the years is when people say, and myself, I've done it too, so I'm not telling you anything I don't know. When I hear that I don't have time or I'm too busy for that, I've learned to understand that it's not that you don't have time, it's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of people invest, including myself, people invest time into things that they value. So I've shifted some habits or some things that I've done over the years. I've let go of some things that took space that didn't serve me. It could be simple things like shifting the habit of watching TV for a book, shifting the habit of scrolling through for social media, for going into a meditation, or, like if you go to just look at your day and people would say, I don't have time for this. But if you look at the amount of time that you maybe spend on social media or just scrolling mindlessly through rubbish on TikTok or Facebook, and you add that up over every day, that could be 10 minutes of reading every day. That could be time that you've invested into a course. That could be time that you invested into a podcast. That could be time that you go out and have some fun. You know, if you look at where you're spending your time and what you value, get rid of the things that aren't adding value to your life and replace them with the things that you do value and that you know are going to nourish your soul. You know they're going to be a benefit for you in the long run, and you know they're going to benefit in all areas of your life, including they're going to ripple out to your partner, your kids, your family, your friends, your loved ones, what you do for your purpose, for your work. But you need to value it. And you need to prioritize. Your time is precious. Your time is a valuable resource. Put it into things that are going to lift you up, that are going to help you grow, and that are going to light your soul up. And all of these little things that I spoke about, take out of it what aligns for you. Take out of it what you feel, I can do that one thing. You only need to do one thing, and then it becomes second nature, and then maybe you can do and add another thing. So confidence is not a magic secret pill that you are just going to get. There are still areas of my life that I lack confidence in, but if I look back at the woman I was 7 years ago, I have developed so much confidence by doing all these little things and making them just little habits, little rituals, little shift in my mindset. And you can too. It comes down to a decision. Make a decision that you're going to make some changes in your life, and make a decision and start journaling. I am a strong, empowered, and confident woman. And you will be. I promise you, my friends, I promise you, you can be, do, and have everything that you want, and you can develop more self-worth and more confidence. Make a decision today that you're going to start working on it. I will leave that with you. Have a beautiful day, and I will chat with you again very soon, my friends. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and want more, feel free to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. You can also head over to earthyangels.com or join our private Facebook group, Earthy Angels Connect, for more community, blogs, updates, inspo, motivation, support, and to connect with a tribe of like-minded souls. And if you have a moment, we would be super grateful if you would love to leave a review. Sending you so much light and